Welcome back again, my listener, to another episode of Michael Speaks. In our last episode, The Mirror and the Mind, we talked about the courage to really see yourself, not through judgment, but through grace. We explore what it means to meet yourself again, to see progress, not wrinkles, to find strength in the reflection looking back at you. And today we take a further step. We want to take it to the next step, because once you've made peace with your reflection, it's time to rebuild your direction. This episode is actually about midlife reboots, not a crisis, not a comeback, but a recalibration of what truly matters. So let's begin again. This time with clarity, intention, and peace. The story itself. I remember the first time I realized I was running on autopilot. It was a Monday morning. I was staring at my calendar, full of meetings, calls, and deadlines. And I realized not one of them had anything to do with me. I was busy, productive even, but I wasn't present. Every checkbox was actually for someone else. Every plan was built around something I thought I should be doing. That day, I closed my laptop and I wrote down a question that changed everything. When was the last time I made a goal that made me feel alive, not just accomplished? That was what I wrote down. And the silence that followed was louder than any alarm clocks. Because for the first time I realized I'd achieved a lot, but I stopped dreaming. I was maintaining, not growing, surviving, not evolving. That moment, that uncomfortable, quiet, humbling moment was my reboot. Not because I had failed, but because I finally stopped chasing noise and started listening for meaning. You see, sometimes life has to empty your calendar before it can fill your soul. But when that happens, you get a choice. Either you stay busy or you start becoming. A reboot doesn't really start with action, it starts with awareness. Take inventory of your life, your habits, your commitments, your emotions, and ask yourself these three questions. What still feels aligned with the person I'm becoming? What no longer fits my peace? And what part of my life I built from fear and what part I built from faith? Because every new chapter begins with closing something old. Growth requires editing. You can't rewrite your story while holding back to the old version of yourself. So take a deep breath and review your life with honesty and not judgment. That's where change begins. That's where you begin yourself. You know, the world has actually taught us to chase big goals, promotion, big raises, picture perfect milestones. But after 40, the goalpost moves. Now, success is less about status and more about substance. Goals with souls are the ones that makes your day feel meaningful, not just full. So instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? Ask yourself this, what do you really want to feel? Do I want peace, balance, freedom, fulfillment? Then build your life around that. Because the best goals don't impress people, they really transform you. When your goals match your values, your work becomes a worship. Your days stop draining you and you start defining yourself. You know, balance doesn't mean doing less. It means doing what matters. We've glorified hustles for too long. We've worn exhaustion like a badge of honor. But peace is not the absence of ambition. It's an ambition with actually boundaries. Balance looks like working hard, but resting without guilt. It looks like giving you all to the things that truly align with your heart. But every time you say yes to something new, make sure you're actually now saying no to your own peace. Because success that costs your serenity is too expensive. So let's make this real. This week, I want you to start small. Add out 3 things. 1 habit you're ready to release, 1 goal that excites your soul, and 1 daily practice that restores your energy. As you reboot list, not a resolution, it's actually a realignment. And if you feel overwhelmed, remember, small steps leads to the big awakening. The goal isn't perfection, it's actually presence. The reboot happens in the small, consistent choices we make every day. That ones that makes your peace louder than your present. Like I mentioned in my story, a few months after the empty calendar moment, I took a solo road trip. No meetings, no deadlines, no plans. Just me and the open road and a playlist, actually, that felt like medicine. I felt uncomfortable, driving all alone, quiet. It was lonely. And as the miles rolled by, something started to shift without even realizing it. I was reconnecting with my own rhythm. The silence became space. The drive became clarity. Somewhere between about 20, 30 miles, I pulled over look at the horizon and smile. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't really chasing a destination. I was just enjoying the direction. That trip reminded me that your reboot doesn't really always start with a roadmap. Sometimes it just needs a moment of stillness and a little faith in what you're headed. So your midlife isn't a pause. It's a power up. It's not your own doing. It's your unveiling. The best part of your life doesn't begin when everything is actually perfect. It begins when you choose progress over pressure. You're not behind if you're thinking that. You're only being refined. So take a deep breath, rest your mind, reset that mind of yours and step forward. You're not too late. You're still right on time. This is your moment to reboot, not because you need to start over, but because you finally know where you're actually going. If this episode actually resonated with you, share with someone who's ready to reset their own life too. And always remember, subscribe to Michael Speaks on Spotify so we can actually just join the conversation. Because every week, we're not just talking about life after 40, we live in it better. And remember, this is Michael Speaks, reminding you that reboot is not a restart, it's a rebirth. See you on the next episode.